Worried. That's all you are, is worried, right? You're watching everyone else's numbers. You think you're getting ready to lose your job, lose the firm, lose the business because you can't sell. All these other people around you blowing your doors off. That's the problem. You're competing against the wrong person. That's one of the fastest ways to destroy a great salesperson, right? Is make them obsessed with everyone else, right? And also the CRM. You guys got to quit paying attention to that so much. You know everyone who has more appointments. You know who closed the biggest deal, who's got the hottest leads, who has the highest revenue this week. But here's what you don't know, okay? You have no idea if any of this is helping you become a better salesperson. But I know the answer. It's not, right? And elite performers understand something, and Stoics understood this many years ago. So I'm going to take a lot of philosophy lessons I've learned, and I'm going to blend this into this sales training to really help take your skills and your income to the next level. Look, you have to understand the only thing you truly control is yourself, and everything else is noise, okay? So let's go module 1, let's title it, and make sure you're writing all this down, right? What's the point of watching a video? You don't write things down. You think you're going to remember it all? You're not, right? Otherwise, you'd be places. So look, the Stoic principle, control what you can control. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but a wonderful emperor long time ago, Marcus Aurelius, he had a quote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Right? Realize this and you'll find strength. And sales is one of the purest examples of this principle. Look, you don't control the lead quality unless you're the owner, right? You have some influence. Lead quality, market conditions, the mood of the prospect. Can you influence that? Yes, sales is frequency, okay? I can use different tonalities and ask certain questions. I can do those things to somewhat enhance the mood, right? Competitors, interest rates, economic cycles, whether someone actually answers the phone, show up to the meeting, right? If someone buys. So there's lots of things that are out of our control. Yet most salespeople spend 90% of their emotional energy worrying about exactly those things. And then you wonder why. Hey, why am I mentally exhausted by noon? I don't know. You've been on the social medias. You're worried about this. You watch that. You looked at other people's numbers. And then get on the phone and you're all poopy pants. I call that not being locked in completely, right? You have to reverse that. Elite sellers reverse it. Ask one question every day. What can I actually control today? What's in my control? A lot of things, right? A ton of things. And here's the thing. It's the circle of control. Write that down. The circle of control. I want you to imagine 3 circles, okay? So circle 1, what we have is complete control, which are things like your attitude, your preparation, your questions, your listening, your follow-up, your work ethic, your consistency, and your willingness to learn. And this is where elite salespeople live. That's where I want to be, right? Circle 1. That's where you need to be. Circle 2 is influence, okay? And that's the prospect's emotions, okay? Trust, urgency, rapport, objections. You can influence these, all right? You cannot force them, though. There's a big difference. I can influence, but I can't force things, okay? Now, circle 3 is titled zero control. And that is you have zero control over other reps' numbers, your manager's mood, okay, your boss's mood, the economy, lead distribution, competition, and also like random luck is a real thing, okay? Yet this is where mediocre salespeople spend most of their attention. The Stoics would call this irrational, right? I call this irrational. This is insane. Why am I worried about everybody else? I just need to focus on myself, right? Mind, body, and soul. Those are the things I need to focus on. Psychologists call it an external locus of control, and that's what you're experiencing. So we don't want to have that, right? Now, let's go to the psychological comparison. So let's go down to a different module. Let's drop down title list, the psychology of comparison. And you have to realize, guys, all evolved from tribes, right? Thousands of years ago, comparing yourself to others help determine survival. But today, look, you're still doing it, but you're not competing for survival, okay? Now you're comparing dashboards instead of food. So it's like every time you look at another CRM, you're looking in the revenue, you're looking at the CRM, you're watching, oh man, so-and-so got another sale, so-and-so got another sale. What happens is your brain starts asking them darn dangerous questions, okay? Well, why do they have more appointments? Why did they get that lead? Why am I behind? Notice what just happened. Your attention left your own behavior. It became attached to someone else's outcome, right? We don't want to experience that. Psychology calls this social comparison theory, okay? The more you compare upward, the more your motivation shifts from mastery to status. Okay? All you need to be focused on is learning and applying. So instead of asking, how can I become a better closer, what you do is you start asking, how can I beat Chris? Or how can I beat Justine? Or how can I beat Janet? Or whatever the case may be. And that's a completely different game. You see, one builds skill and the other builds anxiety. Okay? Let's go to the next module, okay? Title it, Attention is Your Greatest Asset. Go ahead and write that down. Attention is your greatest asset. Every salesperson has limited cognitive bandwidth, okay? Think of attention like a bank account. Every minute spent checking other dashboards, leadership, CRM reports, revenue ranking, group chats about numbers, anything like that, talking to other sales reps. Hey man, the leads. Dude, that has nothing to do with it. You determine if the leads are good, right? Isn't it, look, everything I just named right there, like you just have to put in perspective. Again, dashboards, leaderboards, looking at the CRM, looking at who has more appointments, like all of that stuff, that isn't about becoming better at sales. That isn't about prospecting. That isn't about putting foot to pavement and getting out there, putting hand to the phone and dialing out there, right? You're focusing on other things. It's not pulling up Andy Elliott and listening to these different sales guys, or Jeremy Miner, or Alex Ramosi, and listening to these different sales guys, or me even. Like, maybe it's me, right? I don't care who you listen to. But the whole point is about getting better, right? And where attention goes, improvement follows. So attention is finite. You just have to remember that. Now, one day at a time, write that down. One day at a time, okay? And what do I mean by that? People fail in sales because they mentally try to sell the entire month before breakfast. I need 15 grand. I need 18 sales. I'm behind. Your brain doesn't perform well under impossible time, okay? Elite performers shrink time. One conversation at a time, one dial at a time, one discovery, one question, one objection, one close, one lesson, repeat, okay? You just go it again. Do it again. Same thing over and over again. It's 1 minute, 1 second to 1 minute to 1 hour, right? You're getting way too ahead, okay? And James Clear often discusses how systems outperform goals because systems keep attention on today's actions rather than distant outcomes. And Stoicism teaches exactly the same thing, right? It's like, I need to handle today's duties, and tomorrow will become today's duties when it arrives. So you have to realize, like, the past is a figment of your imagination. It's completely over with, right? So you're reliving things that are over with. Well, you're in the present. So what you do today shapes tomorrow. So there's no point in worrying about, is this, or am I going to be this, or am I going to have this money, or is this going to work? Well, why don't you work on it today? That way it appears in the future, okay? So let's go to the next module here. Become an apprentice forever. And that's a powerful statement. You know, there's a funny little story out there, we'll say, and someone catches Marcus Aurelius leaving his castle, or his emperor, or whatever, his empire. And he said, "Where are you going?" And he says, "I'm off to meet so-and-so, a certain teacher, to learn what I don't already know," right? And it's like, and the guy says, "Wow, the emperor, right? Going to learn. So the thing is, be an apprentice forever. The biggest mistake experienced reps make is believing that they're finished learning. You're never finished learning. I can't stress that enough. Every day you should listen to sales calls. You should plug into what's going on, learn new language, read new books, and then you should get off that, and then the next day apply what you just learned. All of that kind of stuff is what generates more revenue, okay? So you never graduate. Write that down. I never graduate. Every call teaches, every objection teaches, every lost deal teaches, every hang-up even teaches, even the no's, right? So instead of saying I lost, say, what did that prospect teach me? That single question changes everything, because now not every loss becomes a failure. It's something you can grow upon and keep learning on. The other thing, look, the CRM. A lot of you guys become finicky and overly obsessed with your CRMs, okay? And I just can't stress how bad that actually is, right? And for me, it's really to help you manage leads and stay organized. So it's a database that you can work out of, and the system that you've implemented will help you become more strategic within that. But you have to understand, opening it up and hoping isn't going to make it better, okay? Looking at all your clients' names and just looking at them isn't going to make it better. Comparing yourself to other reps, other companies, isn't going to make it better. Imagine an NFL quarterback checking the scoreboard after every throw. Would that improve his mechanics? It's like, of course not. So they study film, they study footwork, timing, studies. They study everything, literally. You got to do the same thing. You need to study recordings, pauses, tonality, questions, transitions, objections, closing language, and that's where improvement lives, not on the leaderboard, right? So get out of the CRM, get back in the books, get into the videos. The CRM is merely a point for you to gauge revenue, see where you're at, you know where the standard is, okay? And it's also a place for your leads to keep them organized. Anything other than that, who cares about other people? You focus on yourself. The other thing is you need to detach your identity from daily results. And that's one of the hardest psychological shifts in sales. Too many of you think I lost the sale, therefore I'm a bad salesperson. The Stoics separate identity from outcomes. You're not today's close rate, okay? You're not yesterday's revenue, and you're not this month's leaderboard. You're becoming more skilled every day, and when identity depends on outcomes, confidence will fluctuate. And when identity depends on discipline, confidence becomes more stable. So the other thing that you need to focus on is chasing competence, right? Most reps chase commission, okay? Good reps chase rankings, and elite reps chase mastery. Mastery eventually produces both, okay? Ask yourself every evening, did I ask better questions today? Did I listen more? Did I create more certainty? Did I improve one part of my process? What will I do better tomorrow? If the answer is yes, you won the day, right? If nobody bought, it's not a big deal at all. You just wake up and repeat the system. If you know you have a winning system, look, not everyone buys every single day. That's called sales. That's why you have to have a relentless and ruthless work ethic. That way you can always win at the highest level. So hopefully this video helped you. You don't need to waste mental energy on variables that you cannot control. The salesperson that you were yesterday is not the salesperson that you were today. So you just improve by 1% every single day. One better question, one better transition, one better objection. You will truly increase your revenue. So hopefully this video helped, and I will see you in the next one.